Now, while in the latest, Russia has claimed full control of Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, which was recently set ablaze, these claims, however, are yet to be verified by Ukraine. Maruf Raza, Strategic Affairs Editor, is live with me on the broadcast. Maruf, this is actually a very, very significant development, and this could be very, very detrimental if at all these things are actually established. And losing contact with the safeguards monitoring Chernobyl, this is very, very big.
You see, there are two sides of the story. One is what the international community is hearing largely from Western-centric sources, and that is that the Chernobyl facility is under threat and going to go out of control. Russia, on the other part, says it has been working with Ukrainian security personnel to ensure that an accident doesn't happen. There is also the element that there in the international fraternity that what if all this goes out of control? Now, my counter to that is that Chernobyl itself has large tanks around the reactors. Reactors are pretty much attack-proof, but those large tanks where spent fuels lie with fuel rods could be susceptible to explosion or an attack. However, the same Western community which is panicking today has not bothered to invest in the safety of the reactors outside periphery area by investing along with Ukraine for the safety of these facilities. Now alarm bell seems to be ringing everywhere that what if this happens and what if that happens. From what I've understood as of now, Russia is equally conscious about the reactors not becoming a scene of attack or sabotage, because apparently the last fire at the Ukrainian facility of Chernobyl was also by some accounts done by saboteurs and not by Russian attacks. Because Russia is a nuclear weapon state, it knows the implications of something like this spilling out of control. If they want to do a nuclear attack, they have other missiles, submarines, and other facilities that they can use. I don't think they're going to use it at all, or if at all, at the last stages when Moscow is facing itself a nuclear crisis. Now, the second aspect to understand is that nuclear facilities are present, but they do not automatically lead to a Holocaust kind of situation. That warheads can only achieve that.
Okay.
The reactors and all can have a spillover effect like it could be in the Fukushima case in Japan. But these safeguards, the same IAEA, the international body that is warning of a crisis, did nothing about it for the last 30 years where the reactors were lying around, assuming all is hunky-dory, so let us not interfere. And Ukraine apparently has also threatened the world that if Russia misuses the arrangements that exist between Ukraine, Russia, and the United States, called the Budapest Memorandum, then Ukraine could also resort to making dirty bombs, which are crude nuclear bombs, and throwing it towards Russia. So there are three parties to the problem: Russia, United States, and Ukraine, and none of them seems to have fulfilled all their commitments.
So, Maruf, I'd just like to understand this one thing. When Russia went ahead and claimed full control of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, and it was also quick to say that there has not been any radiation loss while there was fire that was reported, these claims have not really been verified by Ukraine. What does this really mean? When you say that Russia is equally cautious, then why this full control of a nuclear plant?
See, the nuclear plant, from my understanding, is divided into layers and layers of security risks and the ability of the plant to do what it is designed to do. Inner circle are the reactors. The reactors are pretty much fortified against large air attacks or missile attacks. The second circle is where the tanks lie, where the spent fuel of the reactors are kept, and it is basically a cheap option that countries exercise while not putting those fuels back into Mother Earth by digging deep deposit stores, because that costs a lot of money. And the third element of the nuclear reactor plants are the peripheral security, where the offices, facilities, guards, patrolling area all lie. Now, Russia claims it has control over the two facilities, and the third one should fall into Russians' hands shortly. But them having control over it is a bit different than them having control over the town of Kiev or any other town where a lot of fighting takes place as you fight your way to the center of the town. Here, it is much easier to establish control without getting into a hand-to-hand or man-to-man fighting and a severe bloodbath. Normally, people guarding the nuclear reactors do not necessarily take on such a determined resistance, because they also know if it becomes too severe a fight, it could lead to some explosions landing in the tanks and not the reactor. And that can itself have severe fallout. So it's not such a dramatic situation as is being made out in the West. It is a serious situation, but heavens won't fall if Russia takes control over them.
All right, Maruf, thank you so much for joining me with all those details. Important update that we are bringing to you, as two key nuclear plants in Ukraine, both Chernobyl and Zaporizhzhia, are facing a threat once again. And if these reports are indeed true, then this could mean hazardous implications to the world.